Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Bogarts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. All right, so let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the business leader's guide to leveraging AI. And my guest is Dr. Stephen Kirch, and he leverages 25 plus years of high-tech leadership to help small and mid-sized businesses scale faster. His AI transformation method enables every employee in every role to work faster and better using AI with a guaranteed return on your investment. Because employees learn by using AI on their actual work, and the training costs zero time. This results in increased productivity, improved top and bottom lines, and scalable operations, all powered by AI. Welcome, Steve. How you doing?
Doing great, Elisa. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, very welcome. So tell us, sort of how you got in this field of work and just why you're so passionate about it. I know AI is an amazing new kind of, well, it's been around for a while, but people are using it more and more and more, and definitely employees it needs to be part of their regular sort of daily work. So yeah, tell me how you got into this. And
it's kind of an unusual story. I have a PhD in physics and spent 30 years working in high tech, a couple of companies you've probably heard of. I spent some time at IBM and then the last 22 years at Intel. And one of the things that happened at Intel was that every senior leader there is required to teach at least 3 classes.
Oh,
And so I was invited to learn how to teach the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Stephen Covey's seminal work from a very long time ago. Yeah. And very often, in fact, I was flown around the world to teach that kind of curriculum. I learned other things. And so I became very passionate about the opportunity to help people become more productive. Nice. And I've been doing that for a number of years now. I retired from Intel about 10 years ago and have been doing small business coaching and consulting since then.
Cool. And funny little thing that's to interrupt there. I also worked for Intel. I worked for Intel when I was living in Amsterdam.
Oh my goodness.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
That's great. Intel was a wonderful company. I had a great career there. But I started doing this coaching and consulting thing. And then, of course, I'm always looking for new tools. I think that's one of the curses of being a PhD is that, I'm just always looking for new tools in my toolbox. And a couple of years ago, when ChatGPT exploded on the scene, I realized it was an opportunity to really help small businesses scale in a whole new way. And part of that is because I'm able to leverage my daughter. My daughter, Susie, spent several years working at an AI startup. She has a master's in mathematics and has now, because she was running their patent and research team even as a recent college graduate, so you can tell she's on the bright side. She has 2 patents plus 4 more pending in AI. So wow. I called Susie immediately and I said, hey, let's team up. Let's do this together. But one of the things that we've really focused on is, trying to make sure that AI, it can't be replacing your brain, or you can't compromise your ethics. You need to continue to own the output. It's really crucial.
Yeah.
So for the last couple of years, we've been helping instill AI across the board in small businesses.
That's amazing. That's so great. And I know that they're totally going to use it. I like a colleague of mine, because I also worked in software development. He was talking about how he uses AI all the time, even as a developer, not necessarily to because he still has to check the code and test things and all this kind of stuff. But he's like, oh my God, it just makes his work so much faster. But before we hop into that, this season three of this show is all about scaling on your terms, and it's like how when we scale in our business, it's important to do it on our terms, staying grounded in our values and with integrity and authenticity, really staying in your authentic self. So, how have you scaled on your terms?
Well, as I shared, right, part of this was scaling, bringing my daughter into this. Susie has been an amazing part of my life for, well, she's now in her 30s. Um, and watching her grow up and develop into that amazing woman that she is, and making sure that we together, we're very concerned about ethics and making sure that you're using AI in a responsible way, and in an ethical way, that you safeguard your own data, because that's another one of those risks associated with AI that people don't necessarily take into account.
Mm.
And the other thing that I'm doing here is I consider myself permanently semi-retired.
Nice.
I left Intel, as I said, almost 10 years ago, and I knew I didn't want to just stop doing things, and just go play golf or drink or run around. Um, I do that stuff, but I wanted to do it on my own terms. I wanted to
Mm.
do it with um, being able to travel with my wife, and we have gone on several extended trips every year,
That's awesome.
2 or 3 weeks, a couple times a year. So I made sure that I built my business around that aspect, and being able to take advantage of the fact that we're retired, we have the means, but taking the time away from business. And none of my clients have seemed to mind.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
yeah.
great for people to know. If you're ever thinking of that, some people think they're going to have to be working forever, and luckily, I think AI can help make our sort of our jobs and what we do easier and faster, so that we could have more time to do the things that we love to do that
Oh,
is
that's
aligned with our
absolutely correct.
values. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's dive into it and giving us some tips on how business leaders can leverage AI.
Yeah. So one of the things that is it's really important to think about is to think about, what are the kinds of things that you want to use AI for? What are the guardrails? Put together an AI policy that
Mm.
says, these are the kinds of things we can use AI for. These are the kinds of things we can't use AI for. Put guardrails around the activities that you're going to use AI for, because there are risks associated with AI, both in terms of there's the IP and confidentiality piece of this. What leaks out? Is it
Mm.
used to train new models? The additional models, or can you restrict it? What do your customers think about this? Right? How is it? If you write something and it's not you, it's AI that's written it. Right? What are your customers? How are they going to react to that?
Yeah,
There's been an awful lot of backlash recently.
totally. Yeah.
So there are things, and in fact, what we've created, and I'll be sharing that a little bit later. What we created is a way for you to think through systematically what you should and shouldn't use AI for,
That's
so that
awesome.
you can stay true to who you are.
Yeah, and your business and like your business values and all that,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that a lot actually with one of my clients, really kind of moved into the AI space. And like a lot of the people, his audience are writers. And so their
Mm,
backlash has been huge on that.
right.
And his email list, I think, is dropped by about 13,000 or so, because of
Oof.
it, I think. Yeah, yeah, very interesting. But I
Yeah.
think that, but his standpoint is that it's a helper. is not to write your book for you. It's to help you generate ideas and brainstorm and maybe like tweak little things here and there. And yeah, to use it as your sort of like assistant, not to replace you. And
Yeah.
to speak your words.
There are a couple of different ways that you can think about AI and how to use it in a small business. Yeah. Yeah. There are lots of things that you can do, and AI will help you do them faster, right? Help you generate emails really quickly. Now, you need to make sure that it stays in your voice so that people, know it's coming from you and not from AI. Um, and so you want to use it there as we'll say a very patient, tireless intern. Think about it that way, because you would never take something that an intern gave you and just turn it around and hand it to a client or a customer or a colleague or your boss, right?
Right.
But the advantage of the AI, of course, is that you can ask it to do the same thing over and over again 17 times, and it will never get tired. It will never say, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore." Right? So think of it as a tireless intern for those tasks that are not extremely taxing intellectually, right? Things that don't require a huge brain activity. But there's another category of things where you can use AI as a thinking partner for the brainstorming that you talked about, right? And for a writer, that can be really, really helpful. Give me 3 or 4 different ways I could approach the description of this kind of activity. Don't write it for me, but suggest perspectives. Or when you're looking at your work, when you're editing your work, are there things that I've left out? And really evaluate and have the AI be almost confrontational rather than sycophantic, which it has a tendency to do. It really likes to say, "Oh, you're so great. What a wonderful idea." You can tell it, "Don't do that. Really challenge me. Put that as a part of the prompt and say, what have I left out? What's a counter argument to what I'm suggesting? What are other ways that people could approach this?"
What are your thoughts on using AI to develop software and tools for a company to use in-house?
It's really good at doing, today anyway, and of course today's AI is the worst that it's ever going to be. Tomorrow it will be better. But today it's really good at doing prototyping.
Okay.
But it's not so good at doing, as I understand it. I have a son-in-law who's a programmer, and it's not so good at doing the finished product, and it doesn't necessarily do a great job with the UI, the user interface. So yeah, if you want to do feasibility, you want to do a minimally viable product, I think AI can really help with some of that coding and doing it quickly and seeing if you can come up with, gee, does it actually work? But the final coding, at least today, the final coding, it's not that great. But it's inevitable that it will eventually be able to do that. So the question then becomes, so what's the role for the programmer, right?
Right.
To be the overseer of these AI agents, if you will, or these AI programmers, and become a team of programmers or a team of AIs. And so what are the things you need to think about in terms of what are your own skills, and how do you hone those, and how do you do a better job of critical thinking, which is something that today AI isn't all that great at.
And I find that people don't do the critical thinking. They just take whatever AI gives them without using our brains to critically think about it and see if it's right.
And that's so important, Elisa, that you have to use your brain, even when you're using it as a thinking partner, right? Use your brain there, especially when you're using it as an intern.
Right.
Use your brain. You still own the output. If you give it to somebody, you own what you have delivered. And if AI has made a mistake, which still happens,
Yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently I was using AI. I don't use it a ton. I mean, I guess I don't use it a ton. A lot of my work is more sort of like one-on-one project management type work. And so it's a lot more like conversations and tracking of tasks and people and doing their work. But recently I was thinking about launching an online course and thinking like, okay, like I have my process, but I've never actually put it into like a framework. It doesn't have a cute little
Mm,
name or an acronym or anything like that, but it's basically the same process I take all my clients through. I've never like gave it a thing. And so I was using AI for that. And I was like, hey, here's what I
mm,
do. And here's the process I take my clients through. Like, give me some fun names of ways that I can do different frameworks. And yeah, and it gave me a bunch of different ideas. And then I like did some market research with other people and said, what did you think about this? Which ones do you like? And then even tweaked some of them because some of them weren't quite right. Like, and kind of came up with a different framework. And I thought it was really great. But I love your analogy about the intern. It's like, yeah, you get it. And then you got to tweak it and change it and be like, oh, I didn't like this, or I did like this, and I'm going to do this. And thank you for all the ideas. And then you can kind of amalgamate them into something that you actually want and are proud of and are happy to sell.
right. Yeah. So after you've come up, we started, make sure you have an AI policy, a governance. What are you going to use it for? What is it okay to use it for? And then you want to construct roles like we talked about for the software programmer or any other knowledge worker, where they're collaborating with the AI. Not that the AI is replacing them. There are places where AI is just being used to replace workers. But honestly, the best way, especially for a small business, the best way is to use the AI to take away the sort of more drudgery kind of work and to
Mhm.
free up that employee to do all of the things that's on their list. Gee, if I only had time, right? I know everybody has that list, right? And if you don't have one, your boss has one for you, right? So yeah, it's and what we find is when we get folks really using AI, yes, they're more efficient, they're more effective, but they're also more engaged because they're getting to they're getting to do the things that they wish they had time to do. But you want to use it as an AI human collaboration uh, tool, right?
Yeah, love that.
And then the other thing is you want to measure your success holistically, right? Because again, you want to stay true to who you are, what your business is. You want to invest in the tools, but you want to invest in the people. You want to teach them how to use it. That's one of the things that we help with. But then, track productivity, yes, but also track employee engagement and maybe their strategic capacity, right? As they get to move to the next level. Those are the kinds of things that you really want to start tracking to see if the AI is providing you with the value that's possible.
That's so awesome. Yeah, very good point. And yeah, I love what you said about the employees too. I mean, there's everybody has tasks they hate doing and would love for someone else to do it for them. So let the AI do those ones, and then that frees them up space. And I think that makes for happier employees and therefore a better work culture in general.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you for all of this. We've got a couple minutes left. Let us know where our listeners can find you online, and I know that you also had a gift you wanted to share.
Sure. Yeah. So best way to find me online is LinkedIn. I'm there. I'm posting several times a week. I'm pretty active in LinkedIn. I have, you know, 10, 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. So if you want a connection to somebody and you're connected with me, it seems likely that I have some way of getting in touch with them.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
but the gift that I want to offer here is what we're calling our AI implementation decision framework. It's a sequential step-by-step process to figure out what processes that you have are good candidates for AI automation. We'll start with those critical risk factors, things like compliance, depending upon what kind of business you're in. What about data privacy and security? What about your business reputation? How is AI going to impact that? What's the customer experience that's going to wind up happening here? And then, if the risks of those things are low, then you still have a candidate for automation, even if they're medium. But if they're high risk, well, a human's got to stay involved at some level, right? Then you move to the sort of next level of things. What are the task characteristics? What's the human impact? And again, you want to make sure that you're staying true to who you are, right? If things are really easy, that again don't require a lot of brain power, then that's something that you could turn over to AI, or maybe do an AI human collaboration, as we talked about this AI plus human activity, the hybrid thing. And then you get to strategic factors like what's the value of the work, what's the value of the thing that's being done, and what's the ROI. But we don't want ROI to drive the first conversation around, well, we can save time and therefore we should do it, because there's a lot of other considerations that need to be done before that. So then, of course, the feasibility of, can it actually even be done? So the place to find this is the AIDecisionFramework.com.
Yes, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much. And to finish us off, do you have any final words of wisdom?
So I think the most important thing, as we talked about, is use AI, but don't stop using your brain. You need to stay true to who you are and how you think and how you approach things. And if you do that, you can do a successful implementation of AI.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing all of this. I think this is so great because I don't think people really think it through that way of how to bring AI into your company. So I think that your tool and your gift is amazing. And I hope that people follow it. So please download it. And thank you so much for being on the show.
And thank you, Elisa. It was a wonderful time.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.